everybody. I am continuing a series on words related to social justice issues. Today I'm going to focus on the word collective. I chose collective because I think it is a beautiful contrast to rugged individualism that is often getting in the way of progress. I am going to start us walking through the process of how we could study this word collective, both for reading and spelling it, as well as deepening our understanding of what it means to act as part of a collective. So we can start by looking at the definition of collective, and you'll notice that there's a variety of meanings. And in this case, I'm choosing to focus, as a group acting as a whole. So we can look and see how it's built to better understand its spelling. Collective is built C-O-L plus L-E-C-T plus I-V-E. Now, I know this by looking at the history of the word collective, which you can find at a resource like Edam Online. And we see that the Latin verb L-E-G-E-R-E, legere, I have not studied the pronunciation of Latin in depth, only written Latin, so excuse my butchering if I just did. But that L-E-G-E-R-E meant to gather or to collect. Once again, we can see when we go to a Latin dictionary and we look at the four principal parts of this verb that it yields twin or alternate bases in English. And we find these by looking at the second and fourth principal parts, peeling off the infinitive suffix, the supine suffix, and finding our way to the English bases upon which we have built a wide variety of English words. So you'll see that the other base is L-E-G, and I'm not going to focus on that today, but know that yes, there are alternate bases that come from the same verb, and you're going to notice similarities in meanings with words built off of those bases. Focusing on the base L-E-C-T and building the word collective, we see that we take the prefix C-O-L, which is an assimilated prefix. Sometimes also called chameleon prefixes, because C-O-L actually comes from the prefix C-O-M, which means with or together. You are probably very, very familiar with this prefix, but may not know that it takes on different forms depending on what follows it. And this has a lot to do with articulation, our ability to say certain sounds right in a row. And so instead of collected, we assimilated or made similar to, and that M became an L. That same prefix you know as C-O-N undoubtedly in words like connect and connection, where it's very obvious about the with and together part, and that's, I think, pretty obvious with collect and collective as well. But assimilated prefixes are a really important thing for kids to know about. It can feel like there's all sorts of different prefixes that mean the same thing, but really they are one that takes on a different form depending on what follows it. And in word sums, we don't represent the original prefix. We go ahead and use the assimilated prefix. So it is a C-O-L plus L-E-C-T. And we've already seen how we got that L-E-C-T. So if we want to then build collective, we look at now adding that I-V-E suffix. The I-V-E suffix makes adjectives out of verbs. And again, kids are going to be really familiar with this from their spoken word. They will know words like adaptive. They will know words like aggressive. They just may not know the connection that this suffix has to the bases. I really like to introduce a new suffix to kids in the environment of words where they know it, maybe not in writing, but they know it in their spoken words. So if collective is a new vocabulary word for kids and we're studying what this IVE does, I might look at the word like creative. Creativity, being creative, relating to that to creating. Often this can help give kids a place to hold on to when they're learning a new suffix or how a suffix influences a word. Now we've built collective, and another great step after looking at how to build it is what some of the relatives are. So we can look at our matrix that I've built, and I have looked at all of these word elements to make sure that, even though they might have an lect in them, that they actually are related back to that Latin verb legere, meaning to gather and to collect. I do look back and confirm that the words I'm putting on the matrix are from the same Latin verb, because there might be other lect words that come from a different verb. And in this case there are. So it's good to double check. And I found that election and elect and select and selection are related. And a recollection, if we recollect something, that is also related to the same lect base. So there's lots of relatives. You can certainly build a ton of words from this base. And of course you can look at the twin as well. And then you can look beyond to see what relatives go farther back in the family, more distant relatives are that may not share the same base from the same Latin verb, but might share a more distant root, like the Proto-Indo-European root. So finally, it's a good idea to look at what the letters are doing in the word. And in this case, we have the two L's in a row, collective, not because there's two L sounds. It's not that we have a collective. Try to even say that in a sentence and you'll see that you are changing your pronunciation if you're trying to make that spelling work. Thinking that there's two L sounds or two L sounds in there. It is really one L belonging to the prefix, one belonging to the base, and it's pronounced one time. When going to spell collect, I think most people are going to struggle the most with the unstressed schwa vowel that we find in the COL, collect. We don't say collect, collection. And unfortunately, there are members in this word family that I can think of where we are stressing that prefix to know that it's an O. So this is a case where studying really in depth what that prefix means, drawing attention to it, practicing with it is going to help a ton. The lect collective, we know that that's an E, spelling that S sound, and I think the IVE is pretty straightforward too. In the case of collect, if it's too difficult to learn that COL based on just studying the prefix and you really need an anchor word, the word college is not a part of the immediate family, but it's a part of the broader family, and that might be enough for some kids to remember the COL. You can take a peek at some of the Proto-Indo-European related words and the relatives, and sometimes those are super helpful. So that's a quick skinny on the word collective and how you could approach word study with it. And then from there, launch off into looking at systems where the collective is valued and how that benefits societies versus when we have an individualistic approach. This can be looked at with systems like healthcare, with systems like public schools, libraries, all sorts of systems where we have valued the public good over one individual's or a small group of individuals. And it's a great launching point for more social justice talks.